Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League, and for Tier 2 tonight at the Miami Grand Prix. It is obviously the Tier 1 boys have done their job yesterday. It's time for Tier 2 to put on a show, and Miami is the venue. It's an interesting circuit, the streets of Miami, one with high tyre wear and barriers very, very close to you, making for some interesting manoeuvres coming up in the field. And we are on round number 7. We have just 4 rounds to go here in Tier 2 to decide the drivers' and constructors' fate in terms of the points. My name is JBH, and joining me alongside, as always, for Tier 2 this season is ARL. Good evening, ARL. How are yourself?
Yeah, no, all good here. How are you, Jordan? Yeah, Miami. It's always quite a unique one. But no, let's bring on some more action.
Yeah, it's one of those circuits you either hate it or you love it, I think. And as we saw last night, tyre wear, definitely quite a big factor around here.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a difficult one for drivers. A lot, even you really have to go into this knowing where you stand with this track, and I think a lot of drivers already do. But tyre wear from last night, we've seen it. In race trim, high fuel. It's quite tricky, especially throwing those car around through the first sector. It just puts a lot of load in those tyres, and then having to wait, turn in that before that long straight. It's just such a painful track to go through tyre wear. But we saw two-stop work last night. Some trying to go to the one-stop, but it might be completely different depending on the dynamic, the temperatures, of course, as well. So we need to see what the weather is first before we can judge anything on strategy, though.
Yeah, absolutely. The weather. We've seen some interesting weather this season, and it's been really, really good to see the adverse weather conditions. It just depends on what we see tonight for the 19 corners of Miami. I mean, but I think the bigger problem we have is obviously we could be dry in qualifying, it could be wet in the race. Let's find out what qualifying is as we head to 18 minutes worth of it. And it is bucketing down. We are definitely going to be on the wet tyres. Quite possibly the full wets in these conditions, unless someone's going to take a flyer and go out on the intermediates.
Well, so far it's reading the standard tyre, well, the preset. The game will automatically, as you load in, put the tyre depending on what the conditions are. And so far it is saying the inters. Whether the rain will increase or decrease, we don't know at this point in time. But at least for the start, it says inters. But I'm not going to lie, it does look like quite a lot of rain for the inters. Could this maybe be between two tyre compounds, and it's just a matter of the drivers finding out which is the right one?
Possibly, but I think if you're going to go with the inters and the rain doesn't look like it's going to be letting up, you're going to want to do your inter run first, because as it rains more and more, it's going to get wetter and wetter, and ultimately the inters will get slower and slower. So drivers are going to have to go out very early here if they're going to use the inters to try and get themselves a lap. And it looks like that's what we're going to have. I think we're going to have a very, very busy track in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, 100%. The thing is, the drivers will know this weather coming in, so if it is to get heavier to the point of full west, the qualifying could be decided right now. As you can just see a whole heap of cars coming out of the pit lane, so could be an indication, but I believe the first man on the track is Jack, and followed behind him is his teammate Matty Rudd. So both Williams drivers are leading the field to start their lap. But the conditions now will change so much more. Going through corners such as turn 4, 5 and 6 in the dry, you really have to throw that car around. Now being in the wet, of course, so much slower. So it really will depend how the setup is, and of course if it's going to rain in the race or not. We don't know that yet. So will the drivers prioritize a race setup in the dry? If that's the case, they might have to take a bit of pain in these stages, but of course you get the points in the race, not in the qualifying.
So yeah, as Jack's going round, just get prepared for his first flying lap. Let's have a quick look at the top end of the standings. Iron now leads the championship on 80 points after Julian Amano obviously no longer competing. Julian Amano is still second though, with Hulkenberger third, The Wolf fourth, J. Ray Bay fifth. In terms of constructors, Mercedes still lead the way by 30 points. 34 points, sorry, to Alpine. Aston Martin, a little bit further back than that, another 44. Williams 4th and Sauber 5th. But ARL, do you want to go on board with Jack and go for a lap of Miami?
Yeah, 100%. So here we go. DRS, of course, not enabled in these conditions. So he'll come up into turn 1, very easily corner done to outbrake yourself, because now it's important to get a good entry in, because that compromises you through to 2 and through to 3. Apply the throttle as much as you can without loosening up the rear end, but he does so just fine. He can use a bit of battery to deploy, but still he won't have any help of that rear wing opening up down the straight. You can see how he's almost crawling through 5 and 6 now. Now the long left-hander of 7, which somewhat transforms into 8 with a slight kink here in the straight, but get the throttle as much as you can. You can see the back end starting to complain, and now he'll have to utilise the ERS to make up for the lack of DRS, but it is the same for all drivers, so no disadvantage there. Coming up to the main braking point, turn 11. This one as well, you've got to make sure you get your entry in right, because this is going to really affect you. You can take a little bit of the curb on the inside now, and that'll get nicely clean here. Tighten up the car as the track starts to narrow. Here, go as close as you can to the wall, because then you need to... Ooh, it takes a little bit of the wall, of course, but that's alright. He takes a bit of curb, but not too much. That's alright through there. Now, throttle applied. The rear end complaining a little bit there for the Williams. And now he'll have one more long straight to go. Again, another heavy braking point coming down into 17. When do you pick your braking point? Very easily done to outdo it. Brakes fairly early in these conditions, gets the car rotated nicely. A little bit of hesitation there from the rear, not too happy there, and you can see it really uncontrolled there. The rear not happy so far on Jack's car, but he's going to cross the line and complete the first time lap of the session, which is a 41.8, and in fact Matty Rudd goes a 10th-ish faster as he puts in a 41.7. So the Williams set the first laps.
Yeah, that's turn 17, very off-cambered corner, so in these conditions very hard to get the throttle down as Mikey goes 4th, Stephen 3rd. We have, this is Iron coming through, the championship leader now. Good evening to Iron and Porous Tech in the chat as Iron puts in a 41.0 to go fastest for now. I'm trying to work out if Madman is getting stuck behind, I think that's Trist Games. No, on their flying laps, it looks like he might have just been slightly impeded, but obviously Trist on a lap of himself, so he's not doesn't have to get out of the way. So Madman 8th, Trist 9th. Ira, I think, starting a lap.
Looks like it, yeah. Ira having a go, and you can just see the rear sliding on that McLaren. It's almost a drift car on board with Ira. This is his first lap though, so it's a bit of an exploratory lap, and you'll see these gaps fluctuate a lot between the drivers, because some might take more risk than others just to understand the track, but so far for Ira it's a bit cautious, the rear sliding a bit on that McLaren as he has to go through the long left-hander of 7. Now he'll tighten up and curve for 8, but the rear really is not happy. It's not looking like there's just natural downforce on that car, especially when he's not on throttle, so maybe that's something to do with the setup. But he comes down, one of the overtaking opportunities, down into turn 11. Takes it fairly smooth and easy, a little bit of riding on the curb, but that's going to be absolutely fine. And you can just see hesitating on the power there, so clearly nothing in the rear of that McLaren, but the Wolf sets a new fastest lap provisional pull at 140.2. So we're going closer into the 39s as Ira tries to get the power down out of 16 now, and he has a lot of time to decide where he picks his braking point coming up into 17. He's got a few cars ahead of him, but they should be getting out of the way or starting a lap, so that shouldn't affect him now. Into the braking point, you can hear the rears locking slightly, but it's all under control. It takes a lot of curb, and he's going to try and line up the car to deploy as much power as he can. The sliding from that McLaren is incredible, but he'll come across the line. It's only P9 for Ira, so some time to find, but you could definitely see that McLaren not happy on the rear end.
No, I can see, I'm pretty certain the rain here is getting lighter as it's the Cat now goes 4th in his Mercedes, the first race for him in his new team. He's the replacement for Jolian and Manu. Bruce, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, potentially the replacement for Anthony Hunt. as Anthony Hunt unfortunately unable to take any further part in this season. Double check that, see if there was an announcement or not. There wasn't. Did double check it, but I don't know whether Bruce may well be now part of the McLaren team. He is currently in 6th, but this rain has definitely lightened up, and this is going to let times tumble, as they say.
Yeah, no, 100%. You could see it, and there you go. Jack sets a new fastest lap into the 39s now. But I was about to say, the last man who set the earlier lap times was Clip Skira, and he was on a 40.4. But you could just see how those times are tumbling down.
So Stephen crosses the line. He puts himself up into 8th place. Good evening to Mikey and Bjorn de Bear. Bjorn, we do not know if it is raining in the race. We are completely oblivious. We are doing like an Eddie Jordan. We're going to send someone out with a phone in a field and we'll work it out from there. As Iron now goes fastest with 39.3, and as expected, times are coming down. Times are getting quicker. The question is the rain going to stop by the end of the race to maybe give one shot on a set of slick tyres?
It's possible the rain will stop. The question is, will the track be dry enough for the slick tyres? That's the other question you've got to ask yourselves, because seeing corners like 5 and 6 in the wet, if you go offline and it's not dry enough, you can completely lose it out. But times tumbling down. But as well, take a pinch of salt with that, is a lot of the drivers will stay on the same set of inters. They don't burn up as quick, so they'll fuel the car for multiple laps and they'll go many runs because the inters can just simply handle these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. A standard wet technique, effectively. And I guess if it's dry in, but then you have to sort of say as well, if it's dry in the race, is it better just come and strap on a new set of inters and just burn them out because you're not going to need them? That's, because ultimately, as you get through the session, you can ditch the fuel in the pits, in the garage, and as we got someone off, I don't know who is that. Someone off. It was Matty Rudd in the Williams going off at turn 17 as the Wolf puts in a 38.6. Hulkenberger not on a lap at the moment. At least if he is, he's not having a good one. But yeah, I mean, I guess it all depends what the weather is in the main race, because if they don't need these tyres, as we were saying, NSX Barrett, he's decided it's time for slick tyres.
Right, so that's interesting strategy from him, but the question is it doesn't look dry enough. I can't lie. It's getting better, but I don't think it's ready. He'll give it a try, but if it works, he'll be very, very happy with that. But if it doesn't, it might go the wrong way. But you can see now we're into the 38s with the Wolf, so I'm expecting a few more times to come down. Of course, a few drivers into the pits already, but we were mentioning to burn the inters. As a driver, you want to get into that rhythm where you do multiple time laps, and you just simply can't with the softs. The only thing that could stop you as well is the ERS, but in the wet you're more likely not to burn as much, so it's nice to get into a lap rhythm. As I think that's a McLaren coming to the line. That is Bruce, I believe. Bruce sets his sights into the 39s. He puts himself into P6, as I believe that's Nitrogash. Is that Nitrogash? No, that was J-Ray Bay, I believe. J-Ray Bay onto the front row there. 39.2. The times are coming down, but so far the Wolf is seeming quite untouchable at the moment in the 38s.
I guess we'll have to see what these... Jack's now putting on a set of slick tyres. So we've got two people potentially gambling here at the end of the session. Hulkenberger now joins along with Madman. I just wonder whether, even though it's still slightly raining, obviously we don't know what the temperatures are of the track. We don't know of that sort of nature. So I guess the question there then becomes, is it the fact that it's warm enough that that dry line or drier line is going to keep appearing?
It could be. We saw it yesterday. Of course, the conditions are much different to what they are now, but once the sun shines, it could heat up very nicely. But what they could be trying to do is trying to do a few outlaps. That's definitely a possible option, knowing where the grip is, and as well just getting pure temperature into the main core of the tyre. That's an important thing, but it's tricky. But we'll start to see when we know that it's dry enough from an indication of the DRS from the race control. And as I've been speaking, Jordan, I don't see any more rain, do you?
No, I don't see any rain, and you see that line, that is a lot drier than the rest of the circuit. Obviously, if you step off it, you're in trouble. However, you stay on it, I think there's a lot of grip on offer there.
Yeah, I think we could see the softs now from everyone. I think with 5 minutes to go, this can dry up. This can dry up. I think who's our first runner on the softs? Do we have anyone currently on a time lap?
Not at the moment. They're still sat in the pits, probably waiting for it to be a bit drier.
Someone who is on a lap is Sir Spud and Klipskiri. Klipskiri now takes provisional pole, 37.6. So it really is on offer here. It's becoming clearer that it really could be 6 tyres very, very soon. But they're just going to wait it out for now. But Klipskiri takes it to provisional pole with 4.5 minutes to go. I think the next man who's currently on the lap, who's not abandoned this, is Ira. And as I said, Ira comes into the pits. But the next man currently on the lap is Spud. He's just under 5/10 up, but I'd imagine surely you've seen these conditions. You'd rather abandon this lap and put the set of softs on, potentially. I think it's worth it, no?
Yeah, I mean, I think it might well be worth it.
I think that's everybody into the pits apart from a few drivers coming in. I think Sir Spud's the only man currently on the time lap. We'll see if he puts it on the board or if he jolts straight into the pit lane. Nope, he looks like he's staying on the lap. So where can this put him? It's currently in P16 and it's just a 10.5 improvement. So he'll stay in 16th place, but yeah. But you can start to see now the drivers starting to come out. This is going to be very interesting, Jordan. The drivers have no running in this session on the slick tyres, and the track is still wet when you're offline. So one slight mistake, one little moment can really cause a bit of havoc here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as to how this is all going to work. But we shall see. We shall see.
I believe it's DJ Madman is the first man currently on the softs. Oh, is it Nitro? Well, DJ Madman is having quite an exploratory outlap, but Nitro Gash, he's on the softs. So let's have a look. It's definitely not as fast as what it can be when it's fully dry. But that's the problem. Oh, and there you can see the rear. The moment he touches that curbing, the rear going off. But of course, those curbs are going to be much, much wetter than the main line. And they'll hold water as the Wolf goes to 37.3. He goes to provisional pole and on the intermediate tyres still. So he's still thinking this is Inters.
Interesting to note that from the Wolf, but we're going to keep an eye on Nitro Gash as he has a bit of a slide, I think, through that right-hander. This is getting tricky.
They might not be ready now, but the question is if they're ready in around the minute and a half time once we start to get the final laps in. This could be a warm-up. You never know.
You can see Nitro definitely abandoned this lap because he's just been weaving up the straight as he prepares for what's probably going to be his final flying lap.
As I said, that J&B moves into P4 and also on the Inters.
So Nitro starts his final flying lap. I think Madman currently on a lap. I think he will get back around for another attempt should he require it.
This is important, the first sector.
Ooh.
How much is he up? Ooh.
Big slide from Madman and I don't know if that was Clips Kiri ahead of him. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. And Clips is on a set of intermediates. However, I think they're not a brand new set. I think Nitro is going to be our first indication here of whether these slicks are going to work. I think all of the other runners are going to do theirs on the next lap. But Nitro, he had that one lap of warm-up. He's now coming round that chicane onto the back straight through 16. You see the back end wandering all over the place. But it's still just about got enough grip to be going the right direction. But he's nearly a second down on his best time. These slicks are not working.
No, he was just 3/10 up in the first sector, and you could see it, some parts of the track are still too wet for the slicks. So he's coming up into 17. He's got a couple more corners on the straight, and I think he's coming in. Yeah, he's coming in as DJ Madman retires, so he's got nothing else. I think, who else is on the lap that's improving? That's the question.
Hulkenberger not improving. J-Ray Bay's not improving. I'm looking at these slick runners. No one is improving their time.
Well, Iron and Clips Kiri currently, they're up on their time, and they're both on the Inter still. Iron is a second up at least. So how much time can he find in these final few corners? Can he put this on the front row? Can he put it on pole? So he's just got a couple more corners to go. It's a straight, but you got to keep that rear end check. Deploys all the ERS he can. Goes to the line. Is it enough? It is a 37-1. Takes provisional pole.
The Wolf is improving. The Wolf is nearly 4/10 up on his current lap, so he's into the 36s at this point. And he does go into the 36. A 36.648. That's, well, a good 5/10 up on anyone. Clips Kiri's invalidated his last attempt, but he's currently going to be third. And I don't think there's going to be anyone I don't think there's anyone really on a lap. Oh, Stephen coming to the line. He'll put himself into 6th place with a 38.9 on the intermediates. This slick tyre option has not worked for anyone who's gone onto it. I applaud everyone's efforts for going onto it, and I like the fact that they've kind of spiced this qualifying up, but unfortunately it was the wrong move. And you can see Ivan Ira is up into 5th place in his McLaren with a 38.5, but it is going to be the Wolf who takes the Miami Grand Prix pole position.
Very good lap from him. He's only driver in the 36, but you kind of had a sense of that in this quali so far. He's been on the pace right from the get-go, regardless the timing of when he puts that lap and how the conditions are. But so far, any questions asked, he's answered them all, and he starts in the most preferable spot. So, that's our qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, for the Miami Grand Prix. And, yeah, the Wolf takes that pole position. He's got Iron alongside him on the front row, following Clips Kiri with Matty Rudd. Ira, Enno Steven on the 3rd row with JMB Surreal with J Ray Bay right behind. Hulkenberger and Nitrogash for the 4th row, 5th I should say, sorry, with Jack and Bruce, followed by Sir Spud, Daryl and DJ Madman, with Berra in 16th, and it's the Cat alongside Mikey and Trist on the final row.
So a good qualifying session in the end. Good evening to Stephen and Sir Spud. Mikey saying Ferrari Strat inbound. I think that half the grid ended up on a Ferrari Strat in that qualifying session. But it mixes up the grid. I mean, you almost don't need sprint evenings ARL to mix up the grid. You just need some weather.
Oh, 100% the weather can always spice it up. But as we head into this race, it's definitely dry the way it stands. But I wouldn't necessarily say that fully for the entire race, because the clouds are still hovering around.
Yeah, it could be fairly interesting.
I think Miami could do with some weather. We've seen it, or obviously just now in qualifying. So it's a long race to go here, 29 laps. So anything can happen from one minute to the other, but this is the intriguing part now. When we go from a qualifying, that's where the question is: which drivers prioritized the qualifying? Which drivers have set up more for the race? And we could see that heading into this race. And of course, now the thing is, last night's it was fairly difficult to try the one stopper. The temperature's just too high, so the two stopper was pretty much the way to go. The way this is going is surely the temperatures are going to be much cooler than they were last night. So could we maybe see the one stop happening? The tyres surely will be able to deal with it much better than they would last night. So I wouldn't be surprised if some try it.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me for sure. I think it just depends now on sort of what can be done in terms of, can we see people trying to make the tyres last longer than last night, obviously with the way the weather is, but even without it, can anyone be a tyre whisperer of Miami? Because it's not a long pit stop here, because you cut corner one and you sort of, you don't really lose any time on the entry of it, not really, but you still don't want to be losing too much time unless you really have to.
Yeah, no, 100%. But the problem is, with the pure load that you put through those tires, turn 1, 2, 3, all the way into 4, 5, 6, and then obviously the long left-hander. Regardless how much you try and treat those tires, it's still very difficult to not put too much wear. And of course, you have other cars around you, so it's not the easiest of things. But we've seen how much the tire offset has been, especially last night. Just having a fresher lap or two tires can really make a difference. So that's where it's going to really be playing with the drivers' minds on, whether it's worth it to try and sacrifice. Because if you go for the one stopper, you have to commit, and you have to commit early on, because you need to just prioritize looking after those tires. Otherwise, if you don't, then it's pulling you in between two strategies. But yeah, it'll be interesting, but we'll wait to see what the grid select on their starting tyre. But I figure the favourites are the mediums to start around here.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. Poor Acek saying two stops for him, too much deg. But yeah, I think everyone probably will be starting on the mediums. Ultimately, it also depends what they've chosen for their allocation, because could we potentially see people picking an allocation of tyres where they've maybe got two sets of hards available to them rather than two sets of mediums to cope with this higher deg strategy?
Oh, of course, 100%. And we've known in the past, just from this season alone, how good the hard tyre is and how robust it is, and just being an amazing race tyre, whatever track you come at. So that's definitely going to be a possibility. But then, yet again, whether it's a two-stopper, would you rather use the mediums in a scenario like this where the temperatures are lower? So trying to fire up those hards might be a bit more tricky, and they might not just give the pure pace compared to the mediums. That might be another option, but surely at standard, most drivers coming into this will have the mediums, two sets of mediums. That's usually the common way to go around into your tyre allocation. But drivers who will select the two hards, they know who they are and they know why they're choosing it. So we'll see. But I think so far the tyres pretty much all on the mediums, bar two, and that's so Stephen and Daryl who start on the hards.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to go. I mean, O'Stephen is very well known for almost always starting on the hard tyre, so it's almost like not an uncommon thing to happen. It just depends how sort of how that's going to play out, because you think he's going to lose a lot of time, especially at the first lap and a half. There's potentially he's going to lose quite a few places there.
Yeah, he'll have to do the best he can from those hards for the first initial launch, and then he's just going to have to go through a bit of a painful phase for the first lap or two. Once these mediums, obviously, they're going to kick up much quicker compared to the hards. But after that, if he can just keep it clean, stay in those fights, and of course we know DRS trains can be a thing here because of that long opportunity out of turn 8 all the way down into turn 11, and then of course this opportunity here where the driver's currently at, going down into turn 17. It's very possible to have DRS trains around here, so that could be a consideration going on the hards. And as long as you can stick with that DRS, that can improve your race dramatically, as we see the possible race strategies even showing us a 3-stopper, Jordan. But that 3-stopper is with the softs, and so far nobody's on that tyre.
Yeah, I think you're going to be a pretty brave man if you want to do that. That's for certain. But at the moment, I've managed to get something set up so I can see some weather for us. Apparently the air temperature is 28 degrees, track temperature 38 degrees, and it is cloudy. So I've got a nice little race control on my phone going on. But so we're going to head to the grid. Everyone lines up. We have the cars on the grid. We're waiting for the lights. We have the 5 red lights on. They illuminate, and we are racing at Miami. The question is, who's going to have the better getaway? It looks like the Wolf has got a good one, but is Iron going to get down the inside of him? Down to turn 1. No, he doesn't. He breaks a bit early, thinks better of it. He's going to have clips carried around the outside of him, down towards turns 2 and 3. They come. Hopefully, we look all good as we head through the S's, or at least down to the next set of S's for the drivers. It's Daryl and Mikey swapping positions for 13th. Daryl now fighting for 13th. So we head through the S's against Nitrogash. And Mikey down the inside, a little bit of contact, but I mean it is the first lap, and that wasn't really much contact because Nitrogash straight back down the inside through 7 and into 8. The Wolf already opening up a 9/10 of a second gap as we head down towards the back straight. Well, I say one of the back straights down to turn 11. Berra on the back of Bruce. Is he going to look for a move? No, he's not. There is J&B Surreal though, having a fight with the Alpine of Hulkenberger as Ira and Matty Rudd side by side through 12 and all the way up into this little chicane which can cause you little problems as we then go down the back straight down towards turn number 17, and it looks like we're all now back in a single file line, but battle's definitely a murder. I say that as Nitrogas gets past Madman on the exit of that left-hander, but ARL, looks like we're all back to cleaner runnings, as they say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everyone getting away nice and cleanly as the Mercedes is at, I think that's Spud, it's a cat on Spud actually. Oh, contact actually on the exit of 17. That's front wing damage for the Aston Martin driver, and he gets the place. I think that's a cat just giving the place back, so that's good racing. But apart from that, so far all cleanly away through.
Absolutely fantastic stuff as the opening of this Miami Grand Prix is Jack Team 53 Synopsis getting past J-Ray Bay down before the S's, and now his next target's going to be J&B Surreal. It's not ideal this for J-Ray Bay as J&B Surreal I think just went a little bit wide there through 7. Looks like it's the Cat and Sir Spud having a bit of a scrap on the exit of that corner, and it's the Cat's going to win. Hulkenberg gets past O'Stephen. There's almost too much stuff at the moment to get out. Matty Rudd has picked up 10 seconds of penalties for exceeding track limits, and the worst part, he won't get that back. He's actually off the road down at turn 11. I'm unsure what's happened here. I don't know if he's had to take some avoiding action, but Matty Rudd unfortunately has a 10-second penalty to his name, which he probably won't be able to appeal because he's going to have to make a pit stop and serve it.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what happened if he had contact, but he definitely went deep into 11. Just a bit of contact as well with between Bruce and J-Ray Bay into 13th, very, very close, but luckily they both come out unscathed. So I think that's the Red Bull actually, and Nitro Gash having a look on Daryl, but he has to back out as the Wolf is really checking out this race. 1.9 is the gap, and there's a yellow flag. I think is that Trist gone off?
Madman.
It's Mikey and Madman. So what's happened here is I think that's Mikey diving into the pit. So I think as well there was Matty Rudd involved potentially, or Trist, but they've both also been affected by that.
And I think Madman has picked up a penalty. Yes, he has. It just came up on. Oh.
Ira's round. Ira's round on the exit of 8.
Not an unusual place to go 8 because of the curbing, but not ideal for Ira, and he's lost a bit of front wing there for good measure. In fact, he's lost a lot of front wing for good measure. JMB Surreal loses a plate. Oh, and Bruce picks up 3 seconds toe powers for multiple points, and round goes JMB Surreal, collected by Berra. So Berra's now got damage, as has JMB. That's we got a virtual safety car.
VSC, no, Asda's sort of spud behind. Many front wings are off. I'm surprised that it's only been a VSC with the amount of debris that's on the track in 17, 11.
Ira's completely lost his front wing now. Madman has been given a penalty now for exceeding the pace under the safety car. We've got a collision penalty with Madman and Trist Games for a collision. Well, I was just saying, I don't think we saw it pop up, but Madman picked up a 10-second penalty for the collision with Mikey. I think it came up on my race control screen. And we've got some more people with under VSC penalties. I think that's Mikey and potentially Madman again.
This is all unfolding in these last couple of laps here.
As we go back to green.
Green flag, yeah. I think as well Madman's also picked up another penalty from speeding under the VSC. Unfortunately, so he's got a whole tally of penalties awaiting. But back to green, I think the closest battle currently is between Hulkenberg and Clips Curie. Into 11, nothing does as far.
Sorry, it wasn't Mikey that picked up that drive. I think Mikey did pick up one, but Clips Curie was the driver that picked up a VSC exceeding pace penalty. We've got Sir Spud and Ira. They're out in the S section. What? And we do have a safety car. I don't know what's happened there. Obviously a tangle between the two. And it's all kicked off, and lap 4 we have the first safety car. I mean, it was inevitable around this circuit that we have a safety car. Well, I don't think we were quite expecting it after just less than 4 laps of racing, as the Wolf taking this opportunity to dive into the pits and probably get a set of hard tyres on.
Yeah, 100%. The thing is, though, this is a lot of drama early on, but the hard tyres can you try and make this to the end? A lot of drivers are going to try and think of it. Surely it's too early, but as well, it's already taken 4 laps for multiple front wings to be damaged and a lot of chaos already. So who's to say another safety car or VSC won't come out towards the lateral stages of the race? But it's the Wolf will retain his lead, but I believe it's the Cat has not made a stop. So the only man in the front end to not come in. So he's sticking with those 4 lap old mediums. But I was going to say, it kind of seemed inevitable on the amount of collisions and contacts we've been seeing in just these opening laps.
Yeah, it's far from ideal to be having. I mean, are we now seeing those that are coming onto the hard tyres? Are we seeing them potentially go onto it ready for a 2-stop strategy, thinking we're going to get another safety car later on this race?
Well, it is very much possible. You had collisions and contacts left, right, and centre here. just in these opening 4 laps. I'm surprised we didn't get a safety car on the first go when we had, a Red Bull off as, I think, Trist making way, or... Okay, a little bit of a fluctuation on the timing board and the safety car conditions, but yeah, no, the amount of debris, I'm just a bit surprised we didn't get the safety car in the first go, but 5 laps in, the VSC and the safety car, I mean, that's definitely hinting that anything is possible, and we always know that, but definitely so far it's shown it more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely, and so Spud apparently saying Ira is unfortunately driving the wrong direction. So that's going to be an interesting one to hear the result of. But what this safety car does do, it will bring the field all together. The only thing I don't know is Clips Kiri. I'm pretty certain
he does have a drive.
Still has his drive, as does Madman, and that cannot be served under the safety car. Now, what happens with that is normally you get 3 laps to serve that. However, that kind of pauses when you hit the safety car, and he'll pretty much have to serve it. You have to do a lap after the safety car and pretty much come straight in.
Yeah, it does somewhat ruin the rhythm of the race. You don't have the whole race to decide when you come in. It's pretty strict and clear. You've got 3 laps to come in after you will receive, I think, what would be another penalty and DSQ potentially. But yeah, Klipskiri sitting in 4th as well, in a good position. But maybe this might be a helping hand. He is on the hard side, so what he can do in order to save this race for him is come in early, get the clear air, and start pumping in some serious lap times here if he wants to try and salvage some points. And same for Madman. The only difference is Madman is sitting at the very bottom of the field, so it's going to be even more difficult for him to do. But lots of penalties as well, in terms of the quantity of them for driver. Darryl on 10 seconds. Jack, was it Jack, or I think sorry, it was Matty Rudd who had a 10-second. He's obviously said that under the pit stop, so that's disappeared. But very early on, quite substantial penalties in just these opening laps.
Yeah, it's certainly far from ideal.
One thing I'd be intrigued to see is you do have the Alpines have been a bit out of place in quali, and you can see it now with Hulkenberg and J-Ray just not up there compared to the Mercedes. Now we do know that It's the Cat has not made a stop yet, so he's bound to make one anytime soon. Once we go green, he will have a little bit of life left, but both Mercedes are somewhat up there, whereas the Alpines, because we know this fight's been going on ever since round 1. But yeah, Alpine's just not sitting in a good place at the moment.
No, although to some degree they know that it's the Cat's going to have to come in for a pit stop at some point, so they're going to jump him. I think J-Ray-Bay's got enough pace in him. I just don't know whether Miami's really his circuit. But if Hulkenberg can beat Iron, I mean, I think this is the ultimate thing with the team game here. If Hulkenberg can get up to Iron and beat Iron, as long as J-Ray-Bay can beat It's the Cat, they're going to be gaining points on the Mercedes. So I think that's the main thing to look out for. Is that for J-Ray-Bay, if he's having a sort of a not as good a race as he'd like to, just trying to make sure he beats It's the Cat here, because It's the Cat will have to pit, he will fall behind. So all J-Ray-Bay really has to do is ensure that he beats that particular Mercedes, and hope Hulkenberg does the same with Iron.
Yeah, no, 100%. But as well, importantly, we know Klipskiri will have to come in very shortly to serve that drive-through. So somewhat, that barrier between Iron and Hulkenberg essentially disappears. But could It's the Cat try this one-stopper? Is that maybe what he's going to try and do? Try and extend these mediums? Because of course this safety car and VSC would have allowed you to do that. Could that be potentially on his mind? A safety car comes into the pit this lap.
I think it could be potentially. However, I feel like it could be a very big ask, especially the fact that he's got old tyres anyway, he's going to be losing time here. You know, it will start losing time because the tyre age quite quickly, I think. So, yeah, if he's going to do it, I will applaud the effort, but I don't think it's going to work, especially with the tyre we've seen this week. But the question is, when is the Wolf going to trigger the restart? Does it now, right on the crest of the hill? Gets away from It's the Cat very, very quickly. And no move of the Mercedes, I think. Oh no, the Cat's not going to let Iron through like I thought he might do. Which is a bit surprising because you definitely have to say that it would have been better to let Iron through, as we have Daryl behind, getting up into 12th place. He is going wheel to wheel with J&B Surreal, and here comes Berra. It's 3. Oh my word, was that 3 wide in the S's? That's an interesting tactic, but Matty Rudd gets past J&B as well. J&B probably taking the sensible route, going, I don't fancy getting involved in a 3-way collision. Not especially in that part, as J. Ray Bay now picks up 3 seconds of time penalties for track limits.
Yeah, no, surprising it's the Cat didn't let Iron go, but maybe more tactical decisions coming here. Is that the Williams having a little look on Berra? In fact, Berra having a little look on Daryl. He's going to look around the outside, but it's not enough. And he's going to have to stay behind. But the Williams nearly going into the back of the Sauber. That was close.
Oh, side by side between.
Side by side.
Yeah, that's not normally a place you go side by side. And Mikey backing out of that one. Daryl picks up 3 seconds now as well. Tris just coming out of this left-hander. He's got a nice little train behind him. As we head up towards turn number 17 for the 8th time. We got, well, the game says we got a yellow flag. We don't. Do not panic about that. There is no yellow flag. That'll disappear at some point. As though Clips Kiri comes into the pits as DRS is enabled. And Daryl picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So it's gone from bad to worse for Daryl after what was quite a good qualifying.
Yeah, no, shame, easily done, but that's going to really hurt. But it's the Wolf has just checked out 2.2 already. He's got some serious pace, but Iron is really on the back of his teammate now. Surely a move's going to be coming down into turn 11. You'd assume that he's not going to fight this too hard, and you can just see actually the deployment not being put in. It's the Cat lets through his teammate. So good strategic options there, because now Hulkenberger is on the rear of this Mercedes fight.
I think it was too late though from It's the Cat personally. I think actually what the two Mercedes have done there, instead of having the Cat release Iron early, you know, they've almost allowed the Wolf to get away. I feel like Iron would have had a better chance of sticking with the Wolf without that car ahead of him. But it is what it is at the end of the day, and they're just going to have to go with it as they head down towards 17. And It's the Cat, not got any DRS, but Hulkenberger not able to pull a move off just yet. And you can already see the point I was making, because Iron is already 1.3 ahead of It's the Cat.
Yeah, no, and the gap, crucially, has actually come down between Iron and the Wolf. But so far, the Wolf has answered any threat that has come to him. He's not really had much so far. He's restarted this race perfectly as it's gone so far. As though Steven and the Cat, and It's the Cat's had a problem. Surely he's dropped down to 6th. So something not going right for him. As now Jack gets through. Steven gets back through on Jack. Through into 5 and 6. That was brave, but yeah, wow, good stuff from them. And Bruce now passing It's the Cat. Something's not going right with the Cat. Is these tyres already done? Because here comes Nitro Gas now. He's on the hards, but he's got so much more grip. You could see it. And he's already alongside. DRS open, but open for both drivers here. And I think It's the Cat is going to have to sell back, as is this Jack and O'Steven into 11. It is. And Jack gets through on O'Steven.
And It's the Cat went very deep into 11, trying to get back round a Nitro Gas, but couldn't quite do it, and just hit the brakes way too late. Something interesting as well, I would say, is obviously now that I've managed to find my little race control section and create that one, I can tell you last lap times. And last lap, Iron was a 10th quicker than the Wolf, as we have Nitro Gas and Bruce together, and Nitrocash getting up a place there into 6th. But yeah, I can finally, you know how we always look at it and we go, oh, I wish we could see what the last lap times were for everyone. I do now have that information.
Wow, so game on as it's a cat picks up a 10-second penalty. He comes into the pits, but 10 seconds will be added to his race time if he's not to stop again. As there's a yellow flag, I think that's an Alpine. Is that Hulkenberger? It is! Hulkenberger off at turn 3. Incredible stuff. Oh, it's contact between Mayrod. Oh, you don't want to see that on the left tyre. That could so easily go around if it goes wrong. But they're both unscathed from it. But what's happened to Hulkenberger?
I wonder if he's gone too deep into that corner. I'm not quite sure, but that's big news in terms of the constructors' fight, because that means that Mercedes are, well, obviously the cat isn't scoring any points, but Iron probably doing just enough right now to sort of not lose too many and fend off this attack as Clips Curie gets past Mikey fairly easily, to be honest.
The good news for Hulkenberg is it doesn't seem to be any visible damage on that front wing. The end plates look intact, so hopefully he can keep it going.
Clips Curie nicking the wall on the entry to the chicane before you head up the back straight. It's not what you need to be doing. Nitro all over the back of O'Stephen now, who's on the back of Jack as the next set of laps come in, and this occasion the Wolf 2/10 to the good against Iron, but the good thing for Iron, he's 2/10 to the good on Jack for that last lap around.
Yeah, no, but just to mention, Nitrogas really seems fired up here as he's all over the rear. Oh, Stephen, is he going to have a look on the inside? They're going to go side by side into 4, but Nitrogas thinks of the better then, backs out because there's a DRS coming up, so he'll probably try and wait, or will he go for it now? No, he won't. He'll wait behind the Sauber. I don't think the Sauber will pick up DRS, he won't, so DRS will be enabled for the Red Bull of Nitrogas, but he also has Bruce and J. Rebe right behind. As the DRS gets enabled for these 3 drivers, can Nitrogas send it through? He's going to go on the inside. Is it going to be enough? It looks to be enough. Oh, Stephen can't fight it too much. J. Rebe and Bruce stay in their positions behind, but Nitrogas moving into 4th. He's really come alive on this hard tyre.
Yeah, it's good stuff from Nitrogash, and you can see J. Ray Bay just behind. I would note as well, J. Ray Bay's last lap was a 31.1, which was 7/10 quicker than the Wolf up front. So J. Ray Bay has some pace, as does Berra, who done a 31.4 last time around. So, you know, look out for the Alpine and the Kick Sauber. They are looking quite quick, and currently it's also a good race for the Kick Sauber team at the moment, 5th and 8th. Although it's hard to say the Williams doing an equally good job, 3rd and 9th.
Yeah, no, the Williams are right up there, and you have to mention Jack is sitting in P3. He's made up 8 positions in this race. He's done a stellar job to get where he is, so that's some good stuff for the Williams team. But as well, Berra, he's made his places up into P8, so he's also had to come from the back of the field. But I imagine this battle between Stephen, Bruce and J. Ray Bay, and of course Berra, that's going to be kicking off here, because you can see the Alpine, he's looking on the McLaren. The McLaren actually goes wide of Bruce. He goes off the track, and he's going to lose the position here, and he does to J. Ray Bay. So, J. Ray Bay through in ahead, but does he have the DRS? He should have it from the car ahead, so he does have it. Will it be enough, though, with Bruce? Bruce having to stay on the outside, but I think it's well clear for the Alpine. Oh, he's going to have a little look, though, break quite late, but it's not enough for Bruce.
Yeah, so Bruce down to 7th as we head down to the back straight once again. Question is,
keep an eye on Barrett here. Barrett on the rear of the McLaren of Bruce, and I think as well another Sauber, though that's Stephen getting overtaken by J. Ray Bay. But Barrett and Bruce going into 17, but Bruce outbreaks himself, and that allows Barrett to get up a position. But the fight between Stephen and J. Ray Bay still continuing on, but J. Ray Bay keeps the position, and he will have DRS to protect from the Sauber behind, but both Saubers now right behind the Alpine, so could there be some tactical decisions from them?
I think you say they're going to have that tactical decision, because, I mean, Bearer's lapping a second quicker than O'Steven. There, as we've got a yellow flag. Who's that? That's Matty Rudd, who spun it around into the wall, so he's going to have wing damage. Gets it back around safely, which is good to see, but with a lot of wing damage for the Williams.
Long way to go as well to the lap.
Far from ideal situation for Matty Rudd.
So this puts him on a tricky strategy. If he hasn't got another hard available, it's going to be quite tricky to take a set of mediums if he has to the end. But the fight now going on between J-Ray Bay and Nitrogas. J-Ray Bay been closing up on Nitrogas in these last couple of sectors actually. And he has DRS, so he's well within the 5/10. So could we see a move from him? And he's really gaining through here. He's brought that to under 4/10. He's going to gain more and more as the DRS goes on. Is it going to be enough into 17? No, it's not. He'll have to back off. And Zach Bruce now making the move on O'Steven. He's going to go side by side. He's going to go ahead of O'Steven out of 17. And he gets that move nicely done. But O'Steven gets a better exit here. Here comes the Sauber driver. Can he take back the 7th place? For him, it looks like he does, and he does indeed. Well into turn 1. Oh, and he goes quite wide though. That's going to bring Bruce around the outside. Can he go for it? No, he can't. Just has to stick back. That's actually Bruce now. Gets a better launch. They're going to go again side by side into 4. Is it going to be enough for Bruce? Yes, it is. And the Bruce splits the Sauber pairing, and he gets back ahead.
Tris Games picks up 3 seconds of time penalties. A bit of a shame for him, but he's still going round, which is always the main thing. And I must admit, looking at the weather forecast, it's not really going to change in about half an hour, which we won't be racing by then. The air and track temp drops by a degree, but otherwise it's a pretty stable race for this one, other than any safety cars. But Nitrogash holding on to 4th right now from JB. Now remember, Nitrogash is not a Red Bull driver, as JMB Surreal and Tris Games going side by side. Through 12 we go. Into 13, 14 and 15, and JMB keeps 10th place for now. And J-Ray Bay currently trying to get down the inside of Nitro. Gets down the inside of Nitro, and through he goes. Although Nitro not going to give this one up. He's going to get a bit of DRS assistance now down the main straight, down towards turn 1. Eclipse, Kiri and JMB Surreal now having a bit of a battle down towards the exact same turn. Nitro takes a bit of a look, feels the mirrors, thinks better of it.
Good scrap everywhere we look down the field. But as we hit lap 16, the Wolf really pulling that gap, 4.3. So far everything's covered from him as the Red Bull goes off. That's Nitrogash, the rear. He's caught it, but he's let a few places go. But he's so easily done to lose the rear through those sections. He's lucky he didn't go the other way around and into the wall. But that's not going to help those hard tyres, especially this stage.
No, certainly not. Looking at the last laps, Wolf actually lost a 10th to Iron. It's actually Jack who's the one now starting to make moves. 32.4 compared to Iron's 33.0 and Wolf's 33.1. So Jack now on the move, and inside DRS of Iron. Has Jack looked after those tyres better than the two ahead of him?
It would look that way. It would certainly look that way, as it is same age tyres for both of them. So that's an indication. Will the Williams have better tyres? He's going to go for it. He's going to send it through, and he somehow does. Oh, the rear slides though, and contact between the Mercedes of Iron and Jack. And that's wing damage for, I believe that's the wing damage for the Williams, if I'm not mistaken. Or not.
No, it's Iron. It's Iron. Iron's lost the front right end plate.
Wow. It was very late from Jack, but he almost had it stuck, I think, there. It's just the rear stepping out. But that's not going to help Iron in this fight. It's going to bring the likes of J-Ray Bay closer and nearly in DRS range. And that Jack gets through in the head of Iron. Is Iron really struggling with that damage?
He will through this section. because I mean, this first section is key on having the front end turning in, and I don't know how you call that one because it's always wrong place, wrong time. Unfortunate as Trist Games has found himself way off, and he's going to have to be careful driving the wrong direction.
Keep an eye out on Iron. Iron's coming back, and he gets it, I think, ahead. He does so far as that's Trist.
I assume he got it before the yellow flag sector. I mean, the game normally deals with that itself, so it's normally a self-policing thing by the game. As Trist trying to get back onto the circuit. I think he finally will do now. He got the opportunity.
This little squabble has brought Jerry Bay and Bearer now onto this fight. But yeah, it was very late from Jack, but the actual move itself, he had it stuck. Yeah, it's like he's going very deep in. The Williams again nearly goes into the back of the Mercedes. Is Jack just braking that much late to that? He just can't manage to stop the car, but he nearly again went into Iron.
Yeah, and this scrap is really costing them time. It's cost them about 2.5 seconds roughly to the Wolf on this lap alone. So this is not an ideal scrap. In reality, Jack needs to get past here. But as I say, I'm not really sure how people are going to view that one, because the move was fine, the move was done. It was just the fact that Jack lost the back end, lost a bit of grip. And Iron almost like wrong place, wrong time situation really, but nothing he could really do.
Yeah, no, Jack, because he made that late move as Hulkenberg gets through in ahead of Mikey. Mikey's actually gone slow.
And Jack down the inside of Iron into turn 11. Should be done and dusted now for sure. And Iron still looking to try and retaliate, but I think he's going to struggle through this little section. His best bet is to see if he can stick with Jack through the chicane into turn 16. As I think that's Trist Games arriving into the pits. As is Darrell just behind.
Yeah, so Jack was just purely on a tighter line out of 17. That meant the rear kicked up, and unfortunately he couldn't control it. But this time round, Jack stays ahead of Iron as we have Trist retires from the session. As Iron comes into the pits, and so does J. Ray Bay. So important thing is, does Iron change that front wing? To be honest, he didn't do that bad despite having that damage in that stage.
He's not going to change it.
And it's another set of hards. So, the hards working well. So
mediums for Bruce.
So we're going to see split strategies here. The mediums can somewhat go to the end. There'll be a bit of a struggle, but they can do it in theory. But that's important in theory. As Hulkenberger gets ahead of Bruce. Bruce coming out the pit lane. And so does Klipskiri on Mikey. But a few yellow flags popping around. I think that's the AI of Trist, unfortunately. It's going to cause a bit of issues in that sector. Hopefully that can clear. But the Mercedes of it's a cat. He's got nitro gas now.
Barrett down the inside of Jack at turn 11. Turn 12. Jack's got the inside line. Barrett can't quite get past there, but Barrett trying to launch an attack here on the Williams as they head through the 14-15 chicane into turn 16. It's the cat Nitro Cash having a bit of a fight as well through turn 11, and it's the cat losing out on that one. But the question is, back with Berra. This is the fight for what is the second place at the moment. And to the inside for the Sauber. Pretty easy with DRS. And the Wolf into the pits to cover those who have come into the pits. In comes Berra, and Jack stays out.
Yeah, so everyone responding now to these pit stops. Could Jack be maybe trying to play the long run? Could he maybe try the safety car? Because it's quite old tyres now. 15 laps done on these set of hards. But the ones that have come in are going to have a massive undercut on him. As now Nitro Gash gets ahead and he takes third place. Does he clear the Wolf? No, the Wolf comes out in second, so he's in a great spot. As there's a bit of a fight going on behind though between J-Ray Bay and Berra. And now J-Ray Bay having a look on the Mercedes of It's the Cat. He's just going to have to settle behind, but this is going to really get involved here because It's the Cat is on 9 lap old hard. So This is going to really spice things up, but it's 2 Mercedes versus 1 Alpine in this moment.
Yeah, this just got very interesting. Iron's got the benefit here because he's ahead of his teammate, but he does have that wing damage. But it will be interesting to see how fast the likes of Berra and J-Ray Bay can now go on this set of tyres. I would know as well, Berra's gone to the medium tyres as well. As J-Ray Bay down the inside of turn 12, and here comes Berra. He's got to be opportunistic, gets the back end out, can't quite complete the move, but well saved. But he's going to get a bit of frustration here behind the cat as they try and go through. The question is, what is Jack going to do up front? Will he come in? He's got 4.3 to the Wolf. I mean, we already know the Wolf is going to regain this lead. And Jack does come into the pits now for his pit stop. Is this going to be for medium tyres as J-Ray Bay down the inside of Iron into 4th place? And Barrett does finally get the cat. The question is, the cat comes into the pits now. And it is mediums for Jack, so he's going to look to use the grip. He's lost out to Berra, he's lost out to Iron and J-Ray Bay. He's actually going to lose out to Bruce as well because of this undercut potentially, as he effectively cuts corner 1. He'll get out just ahead of Bruce. But I am seeing purple sectors flying up. Purple sector 1 for Bruce on that last lap, and a purple sector 3 from Berra.
These pit stops have really shaken up Nitrogash in second. Jerry Bay now past and through Iron. Berra now next to wanting to pass that Mercedes. Ever since that damage, Iron has not got the pure pace, and understandably so, but he's going to probably have to take more pain this time round because Berra's closing. He's going to go on the inside with the medium tyres. Is it enough? Iron's going to try and hold it off on the inside line, but Berra will have surely much better grip and traction, and he does so, and through and ahead. Nicely done, cleanly from Berra, and he's up into 4th, but he's going to want to try and close that gap down now between himself and J-Ray Bay.
You will do. Remember, J-Ray Bay does have a penalty. I don't know how much of penalty. He's got 3 seconds for J-Ray Bay, 3 seconds for Bruce, 13 for JMB because he picked up 1 for speeding the pit lane, 6 seconds for Darrell.
Yeah, but of course, as a driver, you always want to finish ahead on track because you never know. Maybe that could get removed in some possible way, but he's going to try and close up, and more importantly, he's on the medium at this stage, so the hards will figure better around the last couple of laps as Matty Rudd gets through and ahead of DJ Madman into 17, nice and cleanly does him. But yeah, as I was saying, the mediums are going to fade off the more we go into this stint, as I think that's Jack on the back of Iron. Iron really struggling to find any turning on that Mercedes, and you figure it's going to be another place lost potentially for him, as you can just see Jack right on the rear of that Mercedes. He'll get the DRS, and it might be a slam dunk for Jack here.
Wing opens, Williams drives by. Is the move going to be completed? You have to think so. And yeah, pretty simple stuff for Jack TM53 synopsis. Gets up into 5th. One person we haven't mentioned that we probably ought to here, Nitrogash. 2nd place right now, and that is a valid 2nd place. He pitted obviously a little bit earlier than everyone else and has made that undercut work. He's 10.3 away from the Wolf, as the Wolf puts in a 29.277 to set the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, no, Nitrogash has really made well use of that undercut. Just having that clear air and the fresher tyres just for 2 laps even is so important, but Jack and Iron still giving a bit of a scrap here for 5th place, but I figure Iron's going to struggle through these next set of corners because that downforce on the front end is really just hurting him with that damage that he's carrying. But yeah, no, Nitrogash, he's placed himself very, very nicely in this fight. He does have J-Ray Bay somewhat closing up on him, but remember, J-Ray Bay does have a 3-second penalty, of course. Whether that stays or gets removed, we don't know at this moment, but as it stands, he's carrying 3 seconds of penalties. As I say that, DJ Madman picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Not enough for him or the Haas team. It's a bit of a shame for the Haas's because in qualifying they looked like they had reasonable pace. obviously made use of the tyres that they had in terms of the inters, but it's just not quite panned out in this race. But you just never know. I think Darrell's a lap down at the moment. This clips Kiri, gets past O'Stephen. But I'm looking at Berra because Berra's closed in on J. Ray Bay last time around. He was half a second quicker, to which J. Ray Bay was 6/10 quicker to Nitro. So they're both closing in on Nitro, but obviously that tyre compound and difference working out in Berra's favour for now.
Yeah, no, you can just see the mediums really having a good set of lap times here, and Berra, he's going to go on the inside, and that move is nicely done just before the breaking point, and he's up into P3, into the podium places. He's still got around 6 laps to go, including this one, so the question is, can he hold it? Because now Berra will have to be the car ahead without the DRS. But they are somewhat both closing in on Nitrogash, Jordan. So
yeah, last time around it was 1.3. Berra was quicker than Nitrogash. Obviously, there was the use of DRS in that, but even J. Ray Bay was 0.3 quicker. So they are closing in on that Red Bull.
Yeah, so we could have
Bruce is closed in on Iron and is looking down the inside. Hits the brakes at turn 11, and the McLaren gets through. And right now, this is a bad spot for the Mercedes team. You've got J. Ray Bay in 4th, Hulkenberger 8th, Iron 7th, and it's the cat currently outside of the point scoring positions, but right on the back of Matty Rudd with better tyres and younger tyres.
It's just incredible how it can flip from one moment to the other. Mercedes looked at the upper hand at the beginning, and now it's completely gone roles reversed. But it's never over
gets
till
back
it's
past
over.
Bruce with DRS down to turn 17.
So he's trying to fight whatever he's got left on that front wing of the Mercedes. But the gap is closed now, under a second between Nitrogash and Barrett. Whether Nitrogash has had an off somewhere, or Barrett is just unloading some insane pace here. But he's in the hunt for this second place. He's somewhat dragging along J. Bay into this as well.
Yeah, I think looking at the split time, looking at the splits from last lap, I think Barrett's just using the grip of those mediums very effectively right now. Nitrogash pulling off similar sort of sector times. So those are maybe slightly further down, but as you say, well, here goes Barrett to the inside and through, and you just got the feeling Nitro not really interested in fighting that one.
Yeah, no, but what Nitro's going to want to do is just to make sure he keeps the position on track. If he can't get Berra, try and use the DRS of that Sauber to protect himself from the Alpine of J. Ray as Bruce picks up a 3-second time penalty. But this pace has really come alive on those mediums for Berra now. Up into P2. He started in, I believe, 16th place, did Berra. He's up into P2. It's been an unreal drive from him.
Yeah, Berra up 14 positions. I mean, Nitro up 7, Jack up 6. We've had some pretty big movers in this field. But the question now is probably going to be more a case of, can Jack now get onto the back of J. Ray Bay? He's 2.7 away. And that last lap, he lost 0.4 of a second. Or 3 to 4/10. So Jack not able to make use of those mediums like Berra is able to do right now.
Yeah, no, it's not exactly working at the moment. But don't forget, of course, J. Ray Bay will have that DRS, so that's probably where the lap time is disappearing. It's no fault of J. Ray Bay. He's doing what he can, but that DRS will certainly not help in the way of Jack. But here comes J. Ray Bay now. Has he got enough to fight the Red Bull? Well, the Red Bull for tonight, I should say. But so far, not enough. Of course, the Red Bull will have DRS from the Sauber in front of him as well. So this is what I said a lap ago. Could Nitrogash just use the DRS of the Sauber to protect himself from the Alpine? The Alpine does have that 3-second penalty, but of course, you'd rather finish it ahead on track than let the penalties get decided afterwards. But I think he might have just crept out of DRS range. Let's see what he's got. You know, he does have DRS, so somewhat stays protected again for another lap, but yeah, Jack just unable to close. There's a yellow flag. That's a DJ Madman's off.
Madman off in the S section. Are we going to get a late safety? Well, I think it's too late for actually a safety car. We're 3 laps from the end. There's a quick clearance, but unfortunately Madman, his race ends on what was effectively lap 26 for him. So a big shame for the Haas team. Darrell in the pits at the moment. Darrell going to go for a bit of a cheeky attempt to fastest lap with a set of soft tyres. We can only find out and hope. But Nitrogash holding on for now, just about within a second of Bear. He's got to make sure he stays within that all the way through turn 7. He's outside now. Does he get back inside for detection? No, because J-Ray Bay's there to try and nick the place before even the detection point of the DRS. The question is, who is in front at that detection?
J-Ray Bay was in front at the detection. So Nitrogash has got the DRS wide open. He's closing. It's not enough, but both J-Ray Bay and Berra had an awful slide on the rear, nearly going completely sideways, but they've kept it on the road as Hulkenberger, it's an Alpine of Hulkenberger, goes into the back of Iron, and that lets Bruce through. Could have been much worse than what's happened now, but Hulkenberger having that damage. This is really getting interesting between the Mercedes and Alpines here. It's not going smoothly for either driver. But
and bear in mind, Iron and Hulkenberger are two of the, not just constructors, but drivers' championship protagonists.
Yeah, of course, it's not going smoothly for either driver tonight, but this is important positioning for both of them. They want to just finish ahead of each other as Bruce goes quite wide into 17. But Hulkenberg, he's going to try and do what he can, but the problem is Bruce has that DRS on Iron himself.
I think the biggest problem Hulkenberger has here is that Bruce has got DRS, but Bruce really isn't in this fight because he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he does. He does indeed, yes.
So he even if you get one of the penalties removed, he's still not in this fight.
Absolutely, he's just not in the fight at all. But it's just the car splitting them. But you figure Bruce is going to probably clear Iron very soon. You could see how much more grip that McLaren's got. He's going to use the ERS that he's got, and soon he'll get that DRS very shortly. Will it be enough to get through in the head? But the Mercedes, again, having good straight line speed. This is not a surprise. We've seen the Mercedes be strong here as it's the cat's retired.
Big news for Mercedes.
Lap. Incredible. Yeah, no, this is incredible when you think it's over. It's news, shocking. That's going to really impact the Mercedes. But wow, all this going on, the Wolf starts his final lap.
Yeah, and something to look out for here. Mikey RK13, he is in the points, 12th place right now. But the problem is he's got Matty Rudd behind, who's on the soft compound of tyre. If Mikey can keep this place, it'll be his first points of the season, I think. But he's got a tall order to keep a soft shot Matty Rudd behind. Jack now within a second of Nitrogash. That'll be for 4th place overall. J-Ray Bay now all over the back of Berra. You get the sense that those means of Berra starting to cry just a little.
Yeah, no, this is going to be important here. This is another yellow flag. Is that Nitrogash?
It is
Nitrogash is in the wall. Oh my word! It's every minute ticks by, something is happening.
And no front wing. He's going to lose. He's got a train of cars on their way. He's about to lose position to all of them. As Matty Rudd does get past Mikey in the end for 12th, just before the final corner. But whilst everything here is happening, I'm going to go back to the Wolf because we haven't seen much of him. He's been out front. He's basically built a gap, managed the pace, let everyone else have a fight on track. And the Aston Martin has had quite possibly, as Jack picks up 3 seconds, but it won't matter. He's far ahead of everyone else. But that will annoy him because, as the Wolf nearly has a spin out of turn 17. Through the penultimate corner for the Wolf. It is going to be the win of the Miami Grand Prix for the Wolf. He reinstates this challenge for the championship as Berra and J-Ray Bay go side by side almost into 17. Isn't quite going to work. Berra's going to come home for 2nd place with J-Ray Bay 3rd. Jack's going to be annoyed because he's picked up that penalty on the last lap and he was well within 3 seconds of J-Ray Bay to pick up a podium, but he's not going to on this occasion. not unless he can fight that penalty. Iron picks up 5th place in the end. Bruce and Hulkenberger side by side, but it's going to be Hulkenberger who takes 6th away from Bruce, who is 7th. Clips Kiri coming home for 9th place. Darrell finishes in 14th. Across the line for the RB. That's 8th place. And Nitrogash slowed right up. I think he's doing a little bit like a ginger tiger, but maybe slightly more successfully. He's 11th place there. Oh, Stephen 9th. JMB Surreal 10th. Nitro, I think he's waiting for the likes of Matty Red and Mikey to get through. So Mikey may well still get a point here by the blind politeness and courtesy of Nitrogash. Matty Red 11th. Yeah. Mikey gets his first point of the season.
Well, there you go. It's somewhat of a gentleman's agreement. He knows he's not in this fight, but he gives the place. He fights his heart out in the race, and he gives it at the end, as he knows he's just not in this championship hunt. But yeah, Mikey, he gets the first points. So no, congrats, Mikey. You've done it. Hopefully more points on the way for him. But this man, the Wolf, he's been, like you said, we've not seen much of him, but he's done everything he's needed to do tonight. He's had to restart the race, and yeah, he's just checked out when he needed to do.
Yeah, it was a pretty good drive. Driver of the day goes to Bear. I'm not surprised. 14 places up. Certainly no surprises in that one. But we head to the provisional results. The Wolf takes the win from Barrett. J-Ray Bay completes the podium. Jack in 4th. I run 5th. Hulkenberger 6th. Bruce in 7th. Clips Kiri 8th. O'Stephen 9th. J&B Surreal 10th. Matty Rudd 11th. Mikey completes the points paying positions. Nitrogash 13th. Darrell 14th a lap down. It's the Cat, Madman, Trist, Sir Spud and Ira all failing to finish this race by way of collisions with the walls or others. Well, we did say Miami's going to cause some interesting racing. I think that's a little bit more than we were expecting.
Oh yeah, 100%. That was just as you think things will start to come down. You know, there's always something going on wherever you look, and no, that was some good fun to watch. But yeah, no, it didn't go the way of the championship protagonists tonight for the constructors and for the drivers. Bit of a rocky race for them, but no, nevertheless, the Wolf was on it, and he did everything he needed to do, and he hadn't been on top step until I think he last won in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken.
First race of the season.
Yeah, so he's been thereabouts, but no, he's definitely going to be happy with that result and try and continue that form into next weekend. But yeah, no, good, amazing drive and recovery from Barrow, must be said, moving up 14 positions into the podium places. That's definitely a drive to be proud of. But yeah, no, nevertheless, what a race we had there.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite big that for Iron, finishing ahead of Hulkenberger, but obviously the Wolf, only 26 behind him going in there, and he picked up the fastest lap. So, yeah, the Wolf very firmly getting back into this fight with 3 rounds to go. As we know, it doesn't take a lot for things to change here in terms of the way the points will go. And next week, we head to quite possibly a similar style of track, maybe very slightly wider in terms of the walls, but Zandvoort, the next circuit, the Dutch Grand Prix. It's a great... I absolutely love Zandvoort. It's such an old school circuit. And whilst it's not the easiest to overtake on, it does produce some very good battles and very close times because of how short it is.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's just it's like a roller coaster. And yeah, no, the bankings, it's just amazing qualifying watch as well to see those cars throw it around. So yeah, that'll be a good watch for next week. But yeah, like you said, a few elements similar from Miami, but yeah, no, nevertheless it'll be good watch for the pure racing and qualifying aspect of it. But as well. Weather, we've seen weather in Zandvoort be quite unpredictable, so yeah, that's also another pinch of salt to take. But into the comments, Spud saying, "What a beautiful race! Well done to Wolf." So yeah, that was just a congratulations to Wolf. And Paul Racetech just saying, "Well done to the drivers. Good watch." It was a good watch indeed.
Absolutely, and I think as we head into the final 3 rounds, obviously, for those who aren't quite aware yet, obviously we are technically ahead of the Tier 1 guys. We're a round ahead because they had issues in the Australia sprint evening, which makes it actually very interesting for them. I'll explain that one in due course. But yeah, we will end in 3 weeks if everything goes to plan effectively. But yes, yeah, so we got Zandvoort left. Then we head to... Where do we head for the penultimate round? It is Montreal Sprint evening for the penultimate round. That's going to be an absolute belter of an evening. And then obviously Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit for the end of the season. Which of those circuits are you most looking forward to?
Oh well, for starters, Montreal has always been a favourite as well of mine. Great action, great overtaking opportunities, despite being, quite tight in some sectors of the lap. But no, it's always been a favourite of mine as well. Though I won't lie, Zandvoort is definitely one to look out for. The bankings are just too beautiful to watch Formula One cars go through. So yeah, no, I can't wait for that one as well.
Absolutely, and just for anyone who has joined us who doesn't, just to explain the Tier 1 situation at the moment. Tier 1 obviously was unable to do the Australian round of the season due to the lobby issues, so they're affecting a round behind us, but they've done Miami yesterday. They will be doing the same circuits as Tier 2. They are tacking Australia, that sprint evening, to the final round, and obviously ARL, this is obviously important news for yourself, being in Tier 1 for yourself as well. That's going to make things very interesting for Tier 1, having a sprint evening actually as the final round of the season.
Yeah, that's. I think it's going to spicy things up for a grand finale. No 18-minute qualifying, just the 2 one-shots and a sprint. So, yeah, even when you think it can't get even more interesting, it can. It certainly can. So, yeah, no, it'll all head down to the wire. But yeah, nice way to end it off as well. Australia as well, it's still been on the calendar for so long. A lot of drivers, I think the vast majority like Australia. So no, it's a good way to end the season off.
Absolutely. But for Tier 2, that's all we have time for tonight. If you have enjoyed it, please do like the stream. Subscribe to the Invictus Racing League channel, as all of Season 21, all live and commentated on every single race every week. So you're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you put your notifications on as well. It's going to be fantastic racing till the end. And join us next Tuesday for the next round of Tier 2, the 8th round at the Zandvoort circuit for the Dutch Grand Prix. You have Tier 1 on Monday at the same time of 8 o'clock. Again, they'll be coming from Zandvoort for their effective 7th round of their season. But from myself and ARL, thank you all for watching tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Join us for more live racing action in the coming weeks here in IRL. But for now, enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye.